love's tender flame, tales of romance. I'm Mordell, reading The Blue Castle by L.M. Montgomery. Chapter 28. Summer passed by. The Sterling clan, with the insignificant exception of Cousin Georgiana, had tacitly agreed to follow Uncle James's example and look upon Valency as one dead. To be sure, Valency had an unquiet, ghostly habit of recurring resurrections. When she and Barney clattered through Deerwood and out to the port in that unspeakable car, Valency bareheaded with stars in her eyes, Barney bareheaded, smoking his pipe, but shaved, always shaved now if any of them had noticed it. They even had the audacity to go into Uncle Benjamin's store to buy groceries. Twice Uncle Benjamin ignored them. Was not Valency one of the dead? While Snaith had never existed. But the third time he told Barney he was a scoundrel who should be hung for luring an unfortunate, weak-minded girl away from her home and friends. Barney's one straight eyebrow went up. "I've made her happy," he said coolly, "and she was miserable with her friends. So that's that." Uncle Benjamin stared. It had never occurred to him that women had to be, or ought to be, made happy. You pup," he said. "Why be so unoriginal?" queried Barney amiably. "Anybody could be a pup. Why not think of something worthy of the Sterlings? Besides, I'm not a pup. I'm really quite a middle-aged dog. 35, if you're interested in knowing." Uncle Benjamin remembered just in time that Valency was dead. He turned his back on Barney. Valency was happy, gloriously and entirely so. She seemed to be living in a wonderful house of life, and every day opened a new mysterious room. It was in a world which had nothing in common with the one she had left behind, a world where time was not, which was young with immortal youth, where there was neither past nor future, but only the present. She surrendered herself utterly to the charm of it. The absolute freedom of it all was unbelievable. They could do exactly as they liked. No Mrs. Grundy, no traditions, no relatives or in-laws. Peace, perfect peace with loved ones far away, as Barney quoted shamelessly. Valency had gone home once and got her cushions, and Cousin Georgiana had given her one of her famous candle-wick spreads of most elaborate design. "For your spare-room bed, dear," she said. "But I haven't got any spare room," said Valency. Cousin Georgiana looked horrified. A house without a spare room was monstrous to her. "But it's a lovely spread," said Valency with a kiss, "and I'm so glad to have it. I'll put it on my own bed. Barney's old patchwork quilt is getting ragged." "I don't see how you can be contented to live up back," sighed Cousin Georgiana. "It's so out of the world." "Contented?" Valency laughed. What was the use of trying to explain to Cousin Georgiana? "It is," she agreed, "most gloriously and entirely out of the world." "And you are really happy, dear?" asked Cousin Georgiana wistfully. "I really am," said Valency gravely, her eyes dancing. "Marriage is such a serious thing," sighed Cousin Georgiana. "When it's going to last long," agreed Valency. Cousin Georgiana did not understand this at all, but it worried her, and she lay awake at nights, wondering what Valency meant by it. Valency loved her blue castle, and was completely satisfied with it. The big living room had 3 windows, all commanding exquisite view of exquisite Mistowis. The one in the end of the room was an oriel window, which Tom McMurray, Barney explained, had got out of some little old up-back church that had been sold. It faced the west, and when the sunsets flooded it, Valency's whole being knelt in prayer, as if in some great cathedral. The new moons always looked down through it. The lower pine boughs swayed about the top of it, and all through the nights, the soft, dim silver of the lake dreamed through it. There was a stone fireplace on the other side. No desecrating gas imitation, but a real fireplace where you could burn real logs, with a big grizzly bear skin on the floor before it, and beside it a hideous red plush sofa of Tom McMurray's regime, but its ugliness was hidden by silver-gray timber wolf skins, and Valency's cushions made it gay and comfortable. In a corner, a nice, tall, lazy old clock ticked, the right kind of a clock, one that did not hurry the hours away, but ticked them off deliberately. It was the jolliest-looking old clock, a fat, corpulent clock with a great, round man's face painted on it, the hands stretching out of its nose, and the hours encircling it like a halo. There was a big glass case of stuffed owls and several deer heads, likewise of Tom McMurray's vintage, some comfortable old chairs that asked to be sat upon. A squat little chair with a cushion was prescriptively Banjo's. If anybody else dared to sit on it, Banjo glared him out of it with his topaz-hued black-ringed eyes. Banjo had an adorable habit of hanging over the back of it, trying to catch his own tail, losing his temper because he couldn't catch it, giving it a fierce bite for spite when he did catch it, yowling malignantly with pain. Barney and Valency laughed at him until they ached. But it was Good Luck they loved. They were both agreed that Good Luck was so lovable that he practically had mounted to an obsession. One side of the wall was lined with rough, homemade bookshelves, filled with books, and between the two side windows hung an old mirror in a faded gilt frame, with fat cupids gambolling in the panel over the glass. A mirror, Valency thought, that must be like the fabled mirror into which Venus had once looked, and which hereafter reflected as beautiful every woman who looked into it. Valency thought she was almost pretty in that mirror. But that may have been because she had shingled her hair. This was before the day of bobs, and was regarded as a wild, unheard-of proceeding, unless you had typhoid. When Mrs. Frederick heard of it, she almost decided to erase Valency's name from the family Bible. Barney cut the hair, square off at the back of Valency's neck, bringing it down in a short black fringe over her forehead. It gave meaning and purpose to her little three-cornered face that it had never possessed before. Even her nose ceased to irritate her. Her eyes were bright, and her sallow skin had cleared to the hue of creamy ivory. The old family joke had come true. She was really fat at last. Anyway, no longer skinny. Valency might never be beautiful, but she was of the type that looks at its best in the woods, elfin, mocking, alluring. Her heart bothered her very little. When an attack threatened, she was generally able to head it off with Dr. Trent's prescription. The only bad one she had was one night when she was temporarily out of medicine, and it was a bad one. For the time being, Valency realized keenly that death was actually waiting to pounce on her any moment. But the rest of the time she would not, did not, let herself remember it at all. Please join me next time for another romantic chapter of The Blue Castle by L.M. Montgomery, here on Love's Tender Flame. Until then, love deeply and live beautifully.